Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for being here today um, on the British Youth Music Theatre webinar. And I've heard so many great things about these webinars, and I'm so happy to be part of one as well. So my name is Christopher Tendai, and I actually did a summer season at BYMT when it was actually a youth music theatre before, and I know that I had the best time, and it's such a great platform, especially for young people, and actually to help you develop your own creativity to go forward within your career path within the industry. So a bit about myself. I am a West End performer, and I'm also a choreographer as well. So a few things that I've done. I was part of the original West End cast of Hamilton. I was part of Matilda on the West End. I've been in other shows such as West Side Story, Jesus Christ Superstar, and In the Heights. And I've also danced for different artists such as Hugh Jackman, Rita Ora, Fleur East, and I've danced on programs such as the Brit Awards and Strictly Come Dancing as well. I have recently created my own dance company, which I have. It's called CTC Dance Company, and we have been live and kicking for the past 3 years now. And we have done many various gigs in different styles and different genres. We have performed in many music videos that have had over 3 million views. We were part of The Greatest Dancer as well in season 1. And we have just, well, I say just, before the joy of the pandemic hit, we had a off West End transfer of our show called Identity, which was at Edinburgh Fringe Festival last year, and went to off West End in London in March, just literally 2 days before we went into the pandemic. So we managed to have our season just before that hit. So yeah, that's a bit about me, a bit about my background. And today I want to talk to you guys and create a discussion about mental well-being, and especially a mental awareness within performers. And we're going to focus today on well-being in theatre performers, and also in dancers as well. And it all kind of, it ties into every area of a performer and a creative. And I think it's something that definitely needs to be spoken about more, and for people to be aware as well. And mental well-being speaks about our own self-worth as performers, and what we deem ourselves, and how we look at ourselves. And it's making sure that we are our greatest asset, rather than our greatest enemy, especially in this industry as well. So we're going to be looking at different topics today regarding that. And I kind of want to just start on, what does mental well-being mean? And if you've heard of this before, but you're not quite sure about the entirety of the factor. So mental well-being awareness is basically, how we think and how we see the world in our own eyes, and it's making sure we have a positive outlook and kind of a confidence to allow ourselves to do what we want to do, and mental awareness also goes in the factor of sometimes, when you can get voices in your head that tell you, you're not good enough, or no, it's best not to do that, it's best to stay safe, or not to take the risk, or all these different kinds of things. This is where our mental awareness comes into play, and it's making sure that we can develop tools of how to understand it, explore it, and also to use it to our advantage as well. So this is definitely stemming into, you know, how do we face rejection from auditions? How do we even, you know, take a risk and go to an audition? You know, taking those risks, how can we manage that? And also how to, you know, keep yourself going, keeping yourself inspired, motivated, going forward in your career. And especially within this time now, especially in this pandemic, it's definitely it's testing our mental state and our mental awareness especially. So I wanted to, you know, today to talk about different things that can help us, different tools, and also look at different organizations that can help us as well. So I want to use the Q&A box straight away, and or you can use the chat box, and I want us to, if you have had any experiences or anything like that, that you feel, you know, that you felt that you're not good enough to do, or something stopped you from doing something that you want to do. If you have felt like this, or if you have any questions like this, please put it in the chat box now, or please ask a question, you know, of if you've been in some kind of situation and how to, you know, understand that situation more, looking at tools of how to help situations going into the future as well. So you can use the chat box, and you can use a Q&A box that is provided to you at the bottom of your screens, if you do have anything. And I think I'm going to go on to, whilst I wait for your questions and your messages, to go on to, you know, our worth as a performer and our worth as a dancer. And I think in this time, it's very much created a spectrum of how much, you know, how important our industry is, and actually, you know, how much revenue profit that our industry creates, which is actually more than football players and all that kind of stuff. It's actually, we are one of the main sources of income for this country. So that also automatically, you know, states how important we are and important our theatres are and our shows are. And also the service that performers provide. And, you know, yes, you know, we go on stage for our own, you know, self-gain at times, and we want to, you know, follow our dreams and all that kind of stuff. But it's also understanding that we allow our audience to get away from the real life, and they sort of can indulge in, especially, you know, a theatre show, 2.5 hours, and just focus on what this story is and connect with that story as well. And it's so important, and especially, you know, when shows like this happened previously in the past, when the world wars were going on, shows were put on to allow people to go and to just, you know, forget about what was going on outside, but just to focus on this story and connect with this story in front of them. And that's the blessing I find that we have been given, and the talent that we have been given as well. So it's understanding that our worth is so important. And we have just got a question come through now, so we're going to pin in that section where we just got to, and I'm just going to read this question out. So we just got from Izzy, you just got, just any general tips for coping with anxiety in rehearsals and performances? If I can't focus, I'm basically useless, and I really struggle with that. Sorry if it's not quite the question you were expecting or willing to answer. This is fantastic. This is exactly the kind of questions and messages that I would love to discuss, because these are so, you know, so many performers have this, you know, especially people in the business now, and it's looking at ways to really understand these tools. So anxiety is definitely a a big one, and it's something that a lot of performers deal with as well. And some of the techniques and tools that I've found most useful is to stop thinking how others perceive you. And this goes into auditions, this goes into rehearsals, and it goes into performances as well. And it's really allowing yourself, to, rather than people, you look at everyone around you and it's like, oh, what do they expect of me? That, that expectation, all these different kinds of things. It's allowing yourself just to focus on you. And whenever you feel anxiety coming on, there's different, I want us to have a look at a breathing technique, actually. And it's just allowing yourself to focus on your breathing. And it is just breathing in through your nose, exhaling, and just focusing on you. What do you need? What do you need to do? Rather than, how is everyone perceiving me? How is everyone looking at me? How is everyone judging me? And as soon as we eradicate that, we're allowed to just see things clearer and actually feel more comfortable within ourselves as well. And I think if we use this tool, especially in rehearsals, it's a thing of, we've got to get it right and we've got to do this. And rehearsals is where we can get things wrong, especially, it's our time to rehearse and to be able to get it right when we get to the end of rehearsals. And it's not about, getting things right straight away. That's not what our industry is all about. It's always through trial and error. And actually, whenever we gain something, it's great. But if something doesn't go our way, or especially, being cut from auditions and stuff like that, we learn from it. And it's making sure that we don't see ourselves as failures or see it as failure, but we see it as we've learned something from that experience and we can move on knowing that knowledge, And a big thing about being a performer is knowledge is absolute power. Okay. So Izzy, I hope that kind of answers your question, and that's a tool that I would love for you to use as well. Just that breathing technique. Great. Let's go on to another one. We've got Katie. I have CPTSD and get frustrated when I can't undertake a job or have to ask for an adjustment because of this. I also have a physical disability. However, in my mind, it's justifiable to ask for an allowance, accessible accommodation to be made. However, struggle to maintain the same mindset with my mental health. That's a yes. Thank you for this. Thank you for this. I say, remember to always remind yourself that you are your greatest asset. And we are with ourselves 24/7, 365 days a year. And it's making sure that you are your biggest supporter. Because as soon as that comes away and we start to judge ourselves, this is when the self-sabotage can happen. And our saboteur will become stronger. And we don't want that to happen. We want to manipulate that saboteur to work in our favor and allow ourselves to go into situations and be like, this is what I've asked, or this is the way I see myself, and that's the way I'm going to see myself. Just reading the question again. The fact is, the disability you have, it is justifiable. And I think it's the fact of, there are a lot of performers out there who do have a disability, but it doesn't stop them. And it's making sure that your voice is absolutely heard. And I think it's not allowing others, it's sometimes we can see things as, we're causing, too much drama, or it's an effort to say these kinds of things. But actually, you have every right to say your requirements, to understand that if you need, you know, access to a certain kind of accommodation and things like that, you deserve it, you know. And the fact is that we all deserve to have equality and equal opportunities for everyone. So the fact is that I don't want you to think of, you know, because a disability that you have is going to, you know, hinder any kind of access to jobs, to training, all this kind of stuff. It's the wrong, you know, absolutely not. And the fact is, unfortunately, there will be people or there will be organizations that might say things that might hinder our mental health about that. But it's making sure that you stay true to who you are and you are backing yourself 100% and you take things further rather than let it slide and go. Depending on, you know, with these organizations, they're gonna do these things again. So it's making sure that you use that confidence that you have and understand our self-worth and kind of, you know, ask for what's yours. You have the right to do so. So Katie, I don't want you, you know, I don't want you to feel overwhelmed with all these kind of things. Really make sure that you celebrate yourself, especially, and everything that you're doing, you know, the fact of is that you've got to work twice as harder as other people. And remember how amazing that is and what a strength it is to have that. And I think that self-discipline, especially for you to keep going, that's going to be your confidence and that ball of light energy that's going to allow you to keep going. Okay, thank you for that. Fantastic. Oh, I'm loving all of these questions. Thank you guys so much, so much. I'm just gonna go on to a third question, and then we're just gonna go back on track, and I'm gonna come back to the questions a little bit later. So don't worry, I'm gonna answer as many questions as possible. This is great. So we have one. I hope I'm saying this correctly. Naeem, I'm hoping that's correct. If it's not, tell me I'm wrong. Please tell me I'm wrong. My mental health is at its worst when I'm at dance school. The girls there can be nice, but they've also been so rude before, excluding me, talking about me. I've even been laughed at when trying my best to perform full out. They're also really skinny / fit, whereas my body is just average, and this really plays on my body confidence. Now I only go to dance just to dance rather than be with friends. My parents have wanted me to leave for 3 years, but I know I need to dance to be a musical theatre performer. And I do love to dance despite not being particularly good. How do I block out the negativity and just focus on dance? Sorry, this is so long. No, there is no long question within this. Thank you so much for this question. Oh my goodness, like this is a big thing. And I just want to say how how strong you are by still going, despite what your parents say, despite what, you know, those girls are doing. You are still going to train yourself, and that is self-discipline right there. So the first thing that I want you to focus on is to understand everything that you're doing already. Okay, so look back and look at everything that you have accomplished. The fact of you are still going, you're going there to train because you want to become a musical theatre performer, and this is exactly what we have to do. And this is the thing: we are, you know, we don't start good at something. You know, we may have a talent for something, but it is then the drive and the training that makes us great and that makes us into this amazing performer, you know? And I tell you now that the most successful performers are the ones that, you know, didn't start out with, the, you know, being the most talented. It's actually about the self-discipline. So what I want you to think about I want you to use the breathing technique that we used before, but remember what you are there to do, and always remind yourself that the fact of with these other girls and doing all that, the fact is bullying is a form of insecurity, and that's what it is. Those group of girls, there are insecurities within that group, and that's kind of why they come together as this group, because they kind of um, bounce off of each other with things that they don't have. And the fact of, if you are there doing what you need to do, that's the thing that's going to make you great. And for me personally, I I didn't start dance training until I was 18 years old. So when I started drama school, that's when I actually got my dance training. I'd done little bits of, creative dance here and there, but, practically I had two left feet. My parents thought I had two left feet. And it was like when I was said, oh, I'm going to be, musical theatre performer, dancer. I'm like, what's going on there? But I made sure that when I went to dance school, I didn't care what anybody said. I was always asking my teachers, how can I improve? What can I do? I was, at the college 7 days a week practicing everything that I needed to do, because I knew after these 3 years, I had to be as good as those people dancing since they were three, and I came into the school not really understanding how to do a pirouette, not understanding, the basic terms of ballet training. These were all things that I had to learn whilst I was there. And it's really understanding the greater purpose of what you are there to do. And don't ever think that, your body is just average. The thing is that we are all unique, and your unique things that you have are the things that are going to get you seen. They're going to get you into rooms for auditions. They're going to get you into colleges. And the fact of is it's allowing yourself to feel confident within yourself. And again, not comparing yourself to other people. The fact of when people see, this skinny fit kind of thing, you don't understand actually, is that, the skinny fit that you see, is that actually healthy? And this is a big thing when people, just say, I just want to be skinny. It can go into the unhealthy kind of spectrum, which we don't want to do. And actually, it's our bodies are our unique being, and that's what we want, and that's what we should be proud of. And it's making sure that we understand that we are healthy, and that's what we can do for our bodies. And the fact of that dance is a form of it's a sport, it's a form of exercise. So you are training your body, you're giving it exercise, and it's making sure that we are eating properly as well, and not doing these, ridiculous diets of craziness. It's understanding what our body needs, especially depending on our physique, and what is best of food intake for our physique. So Naeem, please, 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 keep focused. Everything that you're doing is the right thing. Keep that drive, keep going forward, because I guarantee you will come out the other side and you will be like, I'm so glad I stuck to my guns and I didn't quit. I didn't let the, people get into my head. And that is the way to success. And honestly, you're the one that's going to go further, while those girls, they're either going to realize what they've done and amend their ways, or they're not going to be anything, especially in this industry. There's a certain thick skin that you have to have in this industry, and to allow yourself to keep going. And if people are built on insecurities, they're just going to fall down. So keep doing you, stay positive, stay motivated. Always watch stuff on YouTube, I say, dances, shows, all that kind of stuff, especially now. These are the things that are going to keep you motivated and keep that drive, especially. All right. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Fantastic. Thank you so much, everyone. Right. There's a few more. I'm going to talk a bit more, and then I'm going to go back to these questions that you have. So we were talking about our worth as a performer beforehand, and I think it's a great thing for us to research now. And I feel for my career especially is that, you know, mental health is something that is quite new to me, and I've sort of been researching myself for the past few years and actually understanding, you know, it's really changed my life and it's changed my career. And I'm going to talk about a topic called authentic self. And authenticity is where you are really showing your true self to others and you are comfortable with within your own skin. And for me personally, after I've been graduated for so long, you know, I've been doing jobs here and there, but for me, you know, some of them, you know, it weren't necessarily the right jobs. It was the jobs that I was just taking for the sake of it, you know, and doing things for the sake of it. And it wasn't until I said to myself, you know, I really want to book a West End job. That's what I want to do. And I had 8.5 months where I didn't book anything. And I was retraining again. I was working on my voice. I was given feedback about my dance abilities from auditions, and I was like, you know, I've trained for 3 years. How is this still happening? And then it was making sure that I didn't see this as a personal attack. And I think this is especially when we are given critiques and things like that, is that we don't take it personally. It's understanding ways of that feedback, and we're taking like little pinches of salt from it and they're saying, how can I use this to better myself? And so I got myself singing lessons, you know, making sure that I've got a job where I'm working that I can pay for these singing lessons. I'm going to different dance lessons and I'm seeing things in a different light. And as soon as I started doing that, and I started to care less about what other people thought about me and my abilities, is when I was really able to progress as a performer. And I started to look at the finer details of everything and, you know, looking more into musicality, dynamics, even just having fun, you know, going to especially dance classes and not having that feeling of anxiety of, you know, people are judging me, I've got to be amazing at this, rather than I'm coming to a dance class so I can get things wrong because I want to learn, you know. And I think we see a lot of videos online now is about, oh, and we see these people like, wow, they're amazing, you know, and feel a bit anxious about going to these classes because these dances in there are so amazing. But really, you know, classes and courses are there for you to get things wrong. It's trial and error for you to learn. And that's a massive factor for us to learn and progress. So when I started having this mentality and stopped thinking about what other people thought of me and being judged and all this kind of stuff, that's suddenly when opportunities came to me. And it took me 3.5 years after graduating college to book a West End job. And that job was Hamilton. And it was the original cast. And it was a specific kind of musical that I knew that I would excel in. And I learned so much from that show. And I know that if I were to have gotten that job previously, you know, earlier in my career, I know that I wouldn't have cherished a lot of the training that was given and the knowledge that was given. And I would have felt more anxious and overwhelmed. And I think that I wouldn't have been able to handle it. But, you know, sometimes when you come out of college or when you go to stage school and the dream is, I want to be on that stage, I want to perform. And it's sort of, you create these expectations of yourself. It's making sure that we enjoy the journey to get there, you know. And I think that's one thing that I probably would have done differently, was to enjoy my training a lot more. And I think there is a time of where we set ourselves goals, but it's not that we are setting ourselves expectations of ourselves. And I think that there's a difference there which will ease us when we set that goals, because we know we're going to reach these goals, but we're going to enjoy that journey that we get there. When we have an expectation of ourselves, that's when it's like, oh, I've got to be this and I've got to be that. And already you're battling yourself as you think about that. So a big factor is, you know, the vocabulary that we use to talk to ourselves. And when I started to, you know, be like, I'm not going to care as much, is when I started to be nicer to myself and was actually like, you know what? If I go to this audition and I don't get it, that's fine. But I know that I'm going to give 120% and I'm going to give them everything that they've asked for. And the thing about auditions is you have no idea what they're looking for. You could be filling in for a track. They're looking for a specific height requirement. They're looking for a specific hair type, hair color, color of your skin, all of these things. And it's understanding that whenever we get cut from something, it's not because of our talent, and it's not how, you know, that we're not talented at all or anything like that. It's the fact of, you know, you're just not what they're looking for, but you can be something that somebody else is looking for. And it's making sure that we keep that drive up, especially. And it's making sure that we talk about these things as well and start conversations. And I think I ask you now, you know, when have you ever had a question about mental health? You know, have you had a discussion about this at your school, at your dance school? And these are kind of things that I would really usher you guys to ask your teachers about, you know, of understanding different tools that you can use and asking about their experiences as well, because we all have different experiences, and it's seeing how it can help you grow forward, you know. And I want to talk about two different organizations actually that provide this. One is called Applause for Thought, and this was created in the last year, and is founded by my very good friend who I worked with in the Heights, the musical. And she's created this platform to help performers, no matter what age, about different tools and techniques that you can use to help you understand your mental well-being and your mental awareness. So as people have put in these different situations that people have been in, you can use these different tools. And a great one we spoke about actually is, if we all have phones, is turning them off. You know, after 8 o'clock, we said about turning your phone off, and it takes away the I think the expectation of social media, especially. And we see all these kind of perfect pictures and perfect videos, and that's kind of what we expect this world to be. And actually it's not. And it's making sure as well, especially when we scroll on Instagram or we scroll on Facebook or Twitter, that it's making sure that we also see things that we like, and taking away those things that make us feel anxious, make us feel overwhelmed, make us feel a certain way. Because, you know, if we follow certain people, and yes, they might have a high following, but if they make you feel a certain way with their feed and posts, then why are you following them? And we kind of said about, you know, just turning the phone off and to give your brain time to relax and to be just in your own space and not worrying about what the internet is saying, you know. And with the internet, you know, you can speak your mind, and people, and that's the one of the downfalls about social media is people just speak and people don't listen. So it's understanding that when you go on to your specific, you know, feeds and stuff like that, is that you have pictures or you have messages that are positive and that give you that positive feeling of, or that, you know, motivational, inspirational, rather than, oh, I wish I was like them. Oh, why am I not like that? Why don't I look like that? If any of those, if you see any of these kind of things on your feed, I want you to unfollow them. I want you to delete them, because you are only doing yourself a disservice when you do that. Okay. So I'm actually going to show you their platform. So I'm going to share my screen now. There we go. There's my screen. So we're going to come on to this section here. So this is Applause for Thought, and you can find them either on Facebook or on Instagram. And it's absolutely amazing. And it says triple award-winning organization that provides free and low-cost mental health support, talks and courses to all those in the industry, in the arts industry. So honestly, they have free mental health awareness courses. And honestly, I cannot urge people enough, especially you guys are the next generation of our industry. And what better way is to learn about your own mentality, you know, and you can see things in a different light and a different perspective, and it will also give you a lot more choice as well within your career, rather than I'm a performer, I go to drama school, I must get a job and an agent. When actually, there are certain ways where you can come out of drama school and you can take a year out. You don't even have to go to drama school. You can actually look at what the amount you would have to just do classes and understand those different training and different courses, and do that and still develop the skills to be a successful performer. And you can be self-represented, you know, you don't have to have an agent, you can find jobs yourself. And there's all these different routes that you can go down, and I think is not necessarily shown to a lot of people. So there's lovely Rafaela there that you can see, and she has all these different Instagram lives as well that you can go back and that are available on her IGTV as well, where they're talking about all these different ways, all these different tools that you can use. And I think they are so important. That's there for you. I also want to talk about another organization which I have joined, and is an incredible platform, and it's called Magnetic Studios. And we have created a channel called Chat for Change. And this channel is going to be giving performers bite-sized videos to educate performers in the benefits they have in being part of our union called Equity. And Equity has been around for years and years and years now. And it's making sure, especially as performers, definitely going to stage school and when you come out, is that we join Equity and strengthen our union, because this is just going to help with everything. Help with pay for dancers, it's going to help with our mental health for dancers, and we're working very closely with Equity at the moment. So any questions that people have, we can go directly to the source. And it's understanding the benefits from being part of Equity that you can have. And Equity also has a mental health channel where you can go. It's open 24 hours as well. And you can go onto their website and you can access if you become a member. So if anything is troubling you, you can go to this platform. And they have many different benefits from being on there, from, you know, discounts at hotels, discount in train tickets. So especially if you're, you know, wanting to audition for drama schools and you're having to travel to London from wherever you are, they'll be able to calculate the cheapest tickets for you. And then you get all different kind of discounts as well, and different courses that you can take that are in singing, acting and dance. And it's just also going to allow us to be aware, especially with when we go into contracts and being self-represented, all these things, which I think is so important for you guys to understand now. And the only thing it's going to do is better your knowledge and give you a better understanding of how this industry works. Because what's the point in going into an industry if you have no idea how it works, you know? And that's a thing that is happening currently. And I want you guys, as the next generation, to understand everything that, you know, your basic rights, your basic human rights, your rights within a contract, your rights at college, you know, your rights when you do any courses. It's understanding that. So it's making sure that you know that your voice is important, you know, and it's understanding that people won't be able to take advantage of you as well. And that's a big thing, that you understand your worth as a performer. Yeah. Okay. Let's go back to our lovely Q&A. And I'm just going to go down. Lovely. There's one from Tilly. She said, any tips for auditions when you struggle with comparing yourself to other performers? Example, you feel like you're not as good as the others in the room. Yes, yes, yes. I have had these exact thoughts, you know, going into audition rooms myself. And something that we have said before is just focusing on you. And another good tool as well is to imagine that there is this ball of light, and it kind of starts from your heart or from your mind, wherever you want to feel like this ball of energy begins. And you want to feel like this energy is creating a force field around your body. And, you know, some people are like, oh, that sounds a bit corny and all this kind of stuff. But honestly, it helps so much, and it allows us to stay focused with the task at hand, especially in auditions. So it's feeling this light connect and explore its way around your entire body until you feel this warmth energy, and imagine this light energy within you. And whenever people try, you know, if you try and sabotage yourself with your own thoughts, it will, you know, it will bounce off this force field of energy. If someone says anything to you, it will bounce off that force field of energy. You know, it's allowing you to stay focused with what you want to do. And the thing that I have learnt as well, if people, you know, are in audition rooms and you go in and they're like, you know, stretching in over splits, or they're doing turns and leaps in the corner, that's their own insecurity that they're doing that. And you will see the professional and successful dancers or performers that go into an audition are the ones who are just with themselves, or they're talking to people, you know, creating a nice, lovely, light atmosphere. Because 9 times out of 10, when those people start to dance, they're not very good. They're not very good, but they have to have that validation and kind of intimidate others to feel a certain way. So don't get caught up in that. You know, when I say, when you go into that waiting room or you go ready to start, it should just focus on yourself. And also, you know, usher on other performers. Because remember, we're not alone in this industry. This is about a community of performers. It's not dog eat dog when people always say this kind of stuff. It's a fact of when I go into audition rooms, I congratulate those people who have just performed their hearts out and are amazing, because I know, I'm like, wow, they're inspiring me to be like, wow, I need to up my game a bit. What can I take from what they've just done? How can I bring that onto my own abilities, rather than, oh my gosh, they're so good, I'm really crap, oh gosh, oh, I might as well just give up and go home. As soon as that mentality hits, we've already lost the game. So it's making sure that we can be like, wow, okay, if they're fantastic, right, I need to step up and get onto that level, because I want to work with this person, you know, I want to be on par with this person. They're bettering me and bettering my skills, rather than I'm taking it personally, as a personal hit, when some, you know, most of the time they're not even thinking about what you're thinking about, they're thinking about what they need to do. So we're creating these, you know, these false uh thoughts within our head that, you know, are probably not even true. So it's really focusing on yourself when you go into an audition room, and usher on other people, create that positive vibe, because as well, when you go into a room, that's what they look for. They look for people who are easy to talk to, easy to work with. You know, a lot of creatives don't want to work with people who are, you know, are up themselves or overconfident and all this kind of stuff. They don't want to work with that. They want to work with people who are listening to what they are asking from them. What is the task that they are setting? And that's what they're looking for. Okay, Tilly, I hope that answers your question. Lucy, you've put, how can you overcome the fear when dancing? This kind of stems into Tilly's question, is don't worry about what other people think of you. And this is why we go to class, you know? We go to class to get better. We don't go to class to prove something. If you're proving something and the class is easy, you're in the wrong class, you know? You want to be looking at things that are going to better your knowledge of dance as well. So, you know, if you're great at jazz, why not go over and do a contemporary class? Why not go over and do a commercial hip hop class? And if it's something, you know, that you're not very confident in or don't have much skills in, so why not build your skill set there? And I guarantee you, it's going to open all these doors. And that's what happened to me as well. The fact that I was able to go from musical theatre into commercial, for auditions, booking jobs, getting down to the finals, for, you know, The Voice, and then for Dance Dance Dance. And for me, I remember being in those auditions and I'm like, wow, this is like intricate hip hop. And for me, that, you know, it takes a lot of brain power for me. But I thought, you know, why am I not as good as everyone else here? So I was like, I'm going to focus on myself. I'm going to see it as movement. How can I put this on my body so it looks good when I'm doing it? And also to have fun with it, have that performance element of it. You know, this is why we do it. We that love and that passion for what we do. And that's what's going to shine through. And that's what they're going to see as well, especially, is that performance aspect on top. And I got down to the last, gosh, how many was it? The last four of us. And at the start, it was like an open audition, and there was hundreds and hundreds of performers. And I got down to the last four. And, you know, I would never have thought in a million years that I would get that far, but it's making sure that I said to myself, you know, you can do this. You can do this, you know, be smart. What are they looking for? You know, how are you're creating that connection with the choreographer or whoever's teaching you. You're creating that connection. You're asking the right questions as well. You know, it's all these things that actually will help you rather than looking around and seeing all these people in a room. And so I say the great way, if you have a fear of dancing or a fear of, you know, doing something, is just do it. Just do it. Don't even think about it. Just do it. Because as soon as you do it, that moment comes away. You know, that moment of, why was I so scared? Oh, that wasn't that bad. Oh, I created it was this and that in my head, you know. And we kind of like, oh, okay, that's all right. It's just like riding a bike, isn't it? You know, when you take the training wheels off, and it's like, whoa, can I do this? And then when you do it, it's like, oh yeah, it wasn't as bad. You know, and even if you fall over, it's like, oh, I fall over, I get back up again. You know, and there's no harm in that, you know, at all. Like, I fall on my bum all the time, especially when I'm training or even when I'm teaching. And the factor is, I'm constantly learning, you know, and I'm showing to my students as well, is that take those risks, you know, and see where the happy medium is. Because if you don't go to that place, for you to go too far, you're not going to know. If you're always, you know, keeping back and keeping reserved, you're never going to understand where that level is. Because if people are keeping asking you like, can you give me a bit more, rather than going straight there, people will be like, just tone it down a bit. And once you can do that to find that happy medium, like, oh, okay, I understand what that is. Okay. So, you know, face your fear. That's what I say. Absolutely face your fear. And it won't be as bad at all when you do it. Okay. Lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Right. Let me have a look at some more questions. All right. And I am going to, yes. So, Shamoya, I'm going to answer your question. And then, Naeem, I'm going to go back to your question about explaining about equity a bit more in these last 5 minutes. It's gone so quickly. So, Shamoya has said best tips on how to get out of lazy phases. And I know that this is something that can happen a lot of the times. You know, we're ready to go, and then suddenly it's like, oh, you know, I can't be bothered, or all this kind of stuff. And there are different ways for this. Fitness, I would say, is to just push yourselves. You know, push yourselves out of, oh, if I feel lazy, do it anyway. Do it anyway, because at the end of the day, you are only going to be helping yourself. And I think if you are being lazy, you're doing a disservice to yourself. And what I say is, you know, we can have moments of rest when they are earned. You can have that earned rest, because sometimes when we just are lazy, especially for me, I feel guilty and I can't do it for very long. I'm like, I need to be doing something. But it's understanding when to rest, of like, you know what, I've done all of this today. I'm going to allow myself the rest of the day to chill, or I'm going to take tomorrow off and, you know, allow my body to rest, and allow my brain to rest as well. So it's understanding the two differences. So it's making sure, again, that you're keeping that fitness up, whatever you're doing. And also to stay motivated as well is the fact of that we've been given this beautiful thing of the internet, of where you can go onto YouTube and you can type anything in and you can get it. So put in shows, or put in routines, or put in, you know, vocals that really inspire you and motivate you and get you out of bed and be like, wow, you know, to have a career like that or something like that, right? Yep, that's get me out of bed. Right, let's get going. Let's do it. What do I need to do? Such and such and such. And that's something that really helped me as well, especially those days where it's like, I'm tired, I can't be bothered. But I had about 5 videos that I watched. One being the Anything Goes Tony Awards, which was amazing. And it's definitely a show that I would love to be a part of. But that's one thing I was like, nope, right, I've got to get out of bed. I need to be doing this and that to make sure, you know, one day to be on that stage. And I think where I can reflect is look back is when I did the Olivier Awards with Hamilton. And it's like, I'm so glad that I pushed myself, and I pushed myself out of those lazy phases as well, of to keep going. And it's remembering that the craft that we have, we're always constantly learning. So it's making sure that we understand the times of rest that we can take and that are earned, then the differences between of just doing nothing. And if we do nothing, then nothing's going to happen, is it? So it's making sure, you know, anything that you do is getting you closer and closer to your goals that you want to do. All right. Lovely. I'm going to just talk about, in the last couple of minutes, about equity, and is something that is, I urge all of you to be a part of afterwards. And they basically have, you know, it's kind of like having a lawyer in senses of, if you are wanting to ask any questions about anything within the industry, from, you know, how do I, you know, what is tax? How do I live, you know, when I go to drama school, or how, you know, or how do I live coming out of drama school? You can go to these guys and they will give you free, you'll have free discussions with them, and they'll give you free advice by being part of it. And this also allows us to be aware of our payments, especially, and understanding our worth. And when, you know, people say, oh, can you do this for free for me? Or, you know, it'll help you and all this kind of stuff, but it's going to allow us to understand, like, how is that going to benefit me? How is no money going to benefit me? You know, will this go somewhere? And if I do it now, will that better my career in the future? And it's allowing us to understand these different kinds of scenarios that will, if you stay in this career, will probably come your way. And it's understanding right from wrong, and understanding the ways of what people are, how people are saying things to us, you know, and what is the right way, what is the wrong way. And it's just, it gives you so much more knowledge. I can't even tell you how much knowledge it can give you. And just before we finish, I'm going to share my screen again, just to take you to the equity homepage. So I type into Google and we go equity UK. It comes up here. And this is it here. And with equity, they've currently got a benevolent fund as well to help performers in these times of need. So it's amazing. You've got coronavirus support there. You can get magazines, and then you've got all these famous actors and actresses that are there as well. The campaign for safe spaces. This is the lovely Giles Terrera, who I got to work with in Hamilton. He's fantastic. And it's understanding our rights as a performer. And, you know, and this stems off to aspiring performers like yourselves, of you're going into this profession already understanding, you know, how the industry works, and you're not just going in blind, basically, you know. And there's different channels that you can access: rates and agreements, legal support, insurance benefits, tax and welfare, bullying and harassment, equity pension scheme, equity distribution services, contacts, agents are all there for you. Different digs if you go on tour, the different discounts you can get by being a part of them, and different guides as well. So that's all there for you. And it's like, you know, click on one. Again, you'll have to sign up to be part of it. But honestly, I tell you, it's so worth it. And when you understand how to use it and you understand these different things, it's endless of these possibilities. And for situations that I've been in myself, I was like, why didn't I do my research? Why didn't I just spend 10 minutes of my time looking at this? And if I did that, I would have known this, this, and this, and this. So I could understand and look into different situations in a different manner, and probably in a more informative and positive light, especially for me as well, and understanding my rights as a performer, and understanding, you know, the way that people talk to me. And a big thing as well is, you know, with the Black Lives Matter movement at the moment, is people of color who necessarily don't understand their voices, and have had to just deal with everything that's thrown to them, when actually now it's like, no, voices together will make so much more of a difference. And this is very similar to that, of if we join our union together, and I ask, you know, everyone from different backgrounds, different disabilities, all these kinds of things, to join this union, that's when real change can happen. And this is where we become very, very aware of how we perceive this industry and how we can move forward as well, and the limitless choices that you then have. So I just want to say a massive thank you. I know I've run over by 5 minutes, and I apologize for that, but I think it's so important. It's so important. It's so important that you, as aspiring young performers, understand this now, because it's only going to better yourself so much, and understand the choices that you have going into the future. I just want to say a massive thank you again for everyone here being part of this session. I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend, and I hope to see you all very soon. All right. Thank you guys so much. See you soon, guys.